Today, on Be Something Wonderful, it's not just your imagination, your I-AM-NESS revealed. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from a client yesterday that wanted to give me an update on her situation. And I first talked to her a few months ago. And when I talked to her, it was about her daughter, who was no longer living with her. Her daughter was living with her ex-husband. They were separated, but it's a great relationship between her, her husband, and her daughter. But her husband is remarried. And the daughter is in her senior year, or going to be going into her senior year at this time. And her daughter had an argument with her stepmom. And so the dad called my client and said, you know, that her stepmom wants her out of the house, wanted to uproot her and have her live with her mom during her final year of high school. She would be away from her friends. It's not that her daughter didn't want to live with her mom. That's not the issue. It's all a lot of love, a great relationship there. It's that she didn't want to be separated in her senior year from all of her friends, from the life, from the roots that she made because of an argument with her stepmom. So at the time, my client was feeling conflicted, a lot of resistance in terms of what to do in terms of imaginal scene. And this is what she said to me. I was so worried about her that I couldn't focus on an imaginal scene that felt right. So she was trying to determine how can I imagine that she stays there, that they didn't have a fight, that everybody is happy and that she's finishing her senior year where she wants to finish it with all of her friends. So what we had come up with was, well, just simply imagine your daughter smiling and happy, right? That you're looking at your daughter and she's smiling and happy, right? And not only that, go further than that, right? Because the stepmom's okay. It was just an argument. There's no villains here. Everybody wants to be loved, to be loving in love. So it's not about that. So what we came up with, send the stepmom love, right? Even imagine yourself hugging the stepmom, right? Send that love out. So that's what she did. And she also even prepared a script that what she was going to say when she was going to talk to her ex-husband about this, because her ex-husband was saying, you know, it looks like she has to live with you. It didn't look good, right? But they were going to talk. So this is what she imagined. She imagined her daughter happy and smiling. She sent love to the stepmom and even hugged her in her imagination. And this is what she wrote. And then she goes, I didn't have to say anything. All that preparation, she didn't have to even go to that. Her husband spoke first. And what did her husband say? He said his wife, the stepmom, had a change of heart. Those were his words, a change of heart. Wow! That's what we're talking about. That's what's missing many times from our imaginal acts. The love of everything and everyone. That love dissolves everything unlike itself. Right? Love solves everything. It's amazing. So that was his words, a change of heart. She sent love to her, and she even hugged the stepmom in her imagination. And that's not all. Then their daughter sent her mom, my client, a picture of her smiling with her friends, just like it was in her imagination. Just like in her imagination. That's what we're talking about, guys. And so remember, love attracts love. Love dissolves everything unlike itself. Many times we're so focused on the problem or the issue or trying to come up with a conjure imaginal act or a scene or think that we need to get the processes exactly right, that we forget the most powerful thing of all imagination, of all imaginal acts, is the love that it's made of, the love from which you come and of which you are made. It dissolves everything unlike itself, right? Amazing. That's powerful. So let's hit this a little bit more. Remember, it's not about holding thought. It's not about holding on to that desire or that wish fulfilled or that imaginal scene. It's about extending love. It's about releasing that image into infinity, giving it to God to bring forth into 3D reality. Not holding on to it, saying I got to hold this thought, right? That's not what we're talking about. That's not what we mean by focus. We mean focus by extending love, by imagining it fulfilled, and then giving love, and then giving it to God. There's no opposite to the power of God or the power of good, right? Remember, love attracts it onto itself. God contemplates God. Right? There's no limit to love. When you doubt, when you fear, when you worry, when you're believing in two powers and a power opposite to the divine, hear this. When you worry, when you doubt and you fear, you're believing in two powers. And bigger than that, you're believing in an opposite to God, an opposite to that one love. And that's impossible. That's the only thing that is impossible. That there's a power outside of God. There's a power outside of love. But whenever you doubt, whenever you worry, whenever you have fear, you're believing in two powers. You're believing that somehow evil exists, that bad things exist. They don't. They're not outside of that. Nothing is. That's the only thing that's impossible. Because there's only one power, one love, one God. There is no opposite. With people, this is impossible. But with God, all things are possible. One spirit, one mind, one power. We get back to the 1-1-1 again, guys. That's powerful. So that love is a powerful, powerful part of your imaginal act. God creates by contemplating his own I-AM-NESS. This is from Ernest Holmes. God contemplates his own I-AM-NESS. And remember, you're made in the image of God. So when you imagine your wish fulfilled, you're contemplating your own I-AM-NESS. Wow, right? You, as an individualized aspect of God, are wholly unlimited. To the degree that you contemplate your own I-AM-NESS, in other words, imagine your wish fulfilled. Imagine things how you would like them to be. You allow this power to work through you and as you think, as you contemplate, as you imagine with your conscious mind, your thought or that image is reflected into the mind of God. Wow, this is the world mirror. This is the dual mirror. This is the mirror of God, right? It's reflected. As you contemplate that I-AM-NESS, as you contemplate that within, then that to your conscious mind, your thoughts reflected in the mind of God. That image is reflected and then must be reflected out into 3D. It must manifest. Right? It's received and acted upon according to law and made manifest in the 3D world. According to love and according to law. God is both love and God is both law. Wow, that's powerful. So, you are only limited by your unwillingness to see, conceive, and believe in your desired and imagined end. Hear this. Remember we talked about the prodigal son. You only need to be willing to see it. Be willing to conceive it. Be willing to believe in your imagined end. Be willing to believe in what you want and what you desire as an already manifested fact on a higher plane and will be manifested in 3D reality. Just like the prodigal son. When the prodigal son returned, God saw him a long way off and went running to him. As you turn to God, God turns to you. Right? As you're willing to see, conceive, and believe in your imagination, believe that you have everything that you want, believe you can be, do, or have whatever your heart desires, then God meets you and comes running to you. Right? The divine mind accepts and creates whatsoever you are willing to imagine, conceive, and believe is true within. Hear this. The divine mind of God, that greater subconscious, that creative medium, that divine soil, accepts and creates whatsoever you're willing to imagine, conceive, believe, and is true within. Being all imagination, Neville got it. You must be wherever you are in imagination. Hear this. Being all imagination, you must be wherever you are in imagination. It gets back to what we talked about when we talked about Deep Space Nine and the idea that nothing's linear. That when you hold on to images, you are wherever you are in your mind. Wherever you are in your imagination, that's where you are. Moving in your imagination, you're preparing a place for your desires to be fulfilled. Neville got it. He's pointing to scripture here, right? Where Jesus talks about, in my Father's house are many mansions or dwelling places or abodes. and I go and prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and bring you back into myself, right onto myself. So we're going to talk about this. So you're preparing a place when you're imagining that. And you prepare a place through that I-AM-NESS, through that love of which you are, right? So, and then Neville says, then you return to 3D. You come out of your imaginal act. You're now walking in by faith, not by sight in 3D reality, to walk through a series of events he calls the bridge of incident or the bridge of incidents, right? Which leads you up to where you have been placed yourself, where you placed yourself in your imagination. Now that higher power within you, God, arranges the people, circumstances, and events to fulfill your desire in 3D reality. You are just following that intuitive guidance of God. Right? Wherever you go, it will be there, right? You walk in faith, not by sight. You walk across the bridge of incidents. You can move an imagination to any place and any time. It's without boundaries. It's without limits whatsoever. It's beyond space and time, right? Remember, thought is beyond space or time, right? Dwell there. It's your dwelling place. It's your abode, as though it were true, and you will have learned the secret of prayer. This is Neville got it. You can move anywhere, anytime, and then you dwell there as though it was true, and you have learned the secret of prayer. Jesus gave us the secret of prayer, right? In imagination, I can put myself where I desire to be. I move and view the world from there. This is what my client did, right? She went into her imagination, and she viewed that her world as her daughter completely happy, love and life. And she viewed herself giving love and appreciation to the stepmom and even hugging her. She went there and viewed the world from there, right? In my Father's house are many dwelling places. That's from John 14:2. In other words, in my imagination, thought is unlimited. It's timeless and spaceless. Thought can go anywhere. And there's no limits to what you can think, feel, and believe, right? Every thought is an alternative. Hear this. Every thought you have is an alternative reality. There are no limits to the infinite amount of mansions or dwelling places or realities or states of consciousness that are possible. Wow, that's big. I go and prepare a place for you. John 14:2. Where you go in your imagination, right? That's you. That's that larger you. Dimensionally large you, going within your imagination, in that I-AM-NESS, imagining your wish fulfilled. Your I-AM is your conscious connection with the divine mind. What you consciously think, feel, and believe, what you consciously imagine, right? With love, right? That's the door that Scripture talks about, that Jesus talks about. I am the door, I am the way. It's the way to everything you desire. That's the focus of consciousness. That's the self-contemplation. Right? You're contemplating yourself, your own I-AM-NESS. That's so big. Wow. So if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. Where I am, there may you be also. Where you are in your imagination, that's where you are. Wow. Even as you open your eyes to the 3D world, that's where you are. And you will walk through events and circumstances prepared by God and that higher you, dimensionally larger you, to lead you to that full fulfillment in 3D. Your higher self will move you across a bridge of incidents to where you were in your imagination. That's the law of love. It's attraction, attracting itself to itself. Your higher you, attracting you to it, right, in your imagination. And then you must see that in the 3D world. It must be manifested. That's God-godding, right? Fall in love with your imaginal act. Fall in love with your desired end. Fall in love with your imagination. It's all love. It's not just your imagination. It's your I-AM-NESS revealed. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. You can follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful. We have a group called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors. You can find us there on facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. It's a totally open group. You're all welcome to join. This is where you can share guidance and insight, exchange guidance and insight with others, and also share your manifesting stories. You can follow us on Instagram at Tom Karen, Twitter at Tom Karen, or just go to our website anytime at tomkaren.com or BeSomethingWonderful.com. That has all that information and much more. Creators, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, see you soon.